Ishtagoshti. Yes, you can raise your hand if you have a question. Jiva Priya Das Brahmachari.
Thank you, Sri Gurudev. In the Srimad Bhagavatam is described the Kali-yuga how appear. So it is described that there is 4 ages. Four reason. But these explain like the legs of the Dharma. But what was spoken from the cow, these are like the effect of Kali Yuga. Because sometimes also they say that the Brahmana, the falling condition of the Brahmana are the real cause. So I cannot understand if there is these 4 causes, but also what was spoken by the cow, like yes, that the women, they are walking alone, and they are not protecting by. So
when you say 4 causes, what do you mean by 4 causes?
Yes, the destroy of compassion, destroy of austerity.
So these are not causes, these are symptoms. Yeah, these are symptoms. Krishnai swadhamupagate dhamma jnana nibisaha kalaunashta darshamesha puranako dunoditaha. The sages asked, in Kali-yuga, where will dharma and jnana go for shelter? Because Sri Krishna is the shelter, the protector of dharma and jnana. Rather, Vishnu. But Vishnu is in Krishna when Krishna appears. So he said that Krishna is swadhamupagate. When Krishna left this world and returned to his own abode, then at that time, and along with him, dharma and jnana, also knowledge and dharma also departed with him. And so then there was a degradation takes place, a gradual degradation of society. And so where will dharma and jnana go for shelter now? So Purana ko dunoditaha. This Purana, the Bhagavad Purana, has arisen in Kali-yuga. And that is the shelter of all dharma and jnana in Kali-yuga. And it gives vision to those who have become blinded by the dense darkness of Kali-yuga. So the meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex, these things that destroy the cleanliness and mercy and austerity and truthfulness, these are symptoms of Kali-yuga. They're not the cause. Is there another point?
Also, like the symptoms of Kali-yuga, like the Brahmana.
Yes, yes. Yeah, they are symptoms of Kali-yuga. And in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's more elaborate description also of the dreadful symptoms of Kali-yuga. But Kali-doshini de rajan hyaste eko mahad guna kirtanare vikrishnasya mukta sangha paramvarjet. Even though Kali-yuga is an ocean of faults, it has one good quality, and that is just by Parinam Sankirtan, one can become free from all attachments to the world, liberated from the grip of the external energy, and go to the spiritual world. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Jaiva Dharma says a wonderful thing. He said, by hearing the holy name, it removes the vimukata, The soul has turned away from the Supreme Lord. Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya Samana Braksham Parishashvajate. There are two birds sitting in a tree. One is tasting the fruits and the other is just witnessing. So the tree is this human body and the branch is the heart. And the two birds, they are our self, Atma, and Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. And we are tasting the fruit of good and bad in this world. And ignoring our friend, the other bird, who is waiting with us. So, the power of the holy name is such that if someone will just chant without offense and hear that the holy name itself turns the jiva who is bahirmukh, the jiva who is bahirmukh, outward looking, and just by hearing the name, it turns his attention around and he becomes antarmukh and looks inside. And then when he sees inside, he sees in his heart Paramatma. And then he realizes that this name that he was chanting is not a name, it is that form of the Lord in the heart. So, if he's received the Gopal mantra from Guru, and Krishna is his Ishtadev, then when he turns inside, then he will not see the four-armed Vishnu, but he will see that is Krishna in the heart. So this is what it means, Abhinatvam Nama Namino. The name of Krishna and Krishna himself are not two things. By vikalpa, by this corruption of buddhi, intelligence, we think that Krishna is one thing and his name is another. But if one will just hear deeply the holy name without committing offense, then the Naam itself will turn us from being Bahimukh to being Antarmukh, and we will see that what we were thinking was the name is actually the form and the qualities eventually, and the associates and pastimes. No difference at all. So though Kali-yuga is so bad, but anyway. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam kalo nashteva, nashteva, nashteva gacchayana. It's the age of Kali, there is no other way. In Satyayug, you could do silent meditation, maybe possible, to turn. But in Kali-yuga, the degradation and the contaminated nature of the souls is such. It doesn't have such power. But Naam, the chanting of Harinam, so powerful that anyone who will chant and hear without offense, they can realize that Krishna and his name are one and have darshan of Sri Krishna in the heart. So sometimes devotees say, I'm not chanting so much because I'm focusing on the quality. So that's like saying, I'm not antamukh so much because I am focusing on being bahimukh. Because if a person chants only a little bit, that means they must be bahimukh. They must be outgoing. Their senses and their attention is outgoing. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also in Jaiva Dharma. Jaiva Dharma is very important. Everyone should read Jaiva Dharma very carefully. So many beautiful, practical, important points are made by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he said that unless one will increase the quantity of chanting, then there's no question of increasing the quality. You will not increase the quality. It's possible to increase the quantity without increasing the quality, because you can just inattentively pull the rope and mumble something while doing other things. So you can, it's possible to increase the quality the quantity without increasing the quality. But it's not possible to increase the quality without increasing the quantity. We have to spend more time attentively chanting and depend on the name, to the power of the name, because the name of Krishna means Krishna, to attract. So now our consciousness is attracted outwardly, and when we chant the name itself attracts our consciousness to become the antaramukh, facing towards Sri Krishna. Then, when the consciousness is facing towards Sri Krishna, then you can realize the Amrita of Nati. We were discussing in Manashiksha, the Panchamrita. Tadijakya Dhyana Sravana Nati Panchamrita. So the last one is Nati, paying obeisances. So if in your heart you did not have the darshan of Krishna, then paying obeisances seems like not so very interesting, because you're just bowing down to someone somewhere in space. But once by the power of the holy name, then the vision of Sri Krishna appears in the heart. Then Krishna, then he wants to give pranam, because it's not impersonal, it's not empty and vacuous. And he feels impelled to give pranam to his Supreme Lord. Yes, raise your hand. Brenda.
Thank you, Srila Gurudev. My question. There are many circumstances how a soul with the consciousness can leave the body. And for example, so-called natural death, types of sickness, type of fatal accident, types of murder, types of suicide or fasting until death. So my question is, how long does it take, depending on the circumstances, to take another body, preferably a human body or even a transcendental body, hopefully, but it may be also another body as well. So it depends on the piety and surrender to Shri Guru and to Shri Krishna, or unfortunately right, the opposite of a person as well. So could you please also say a few words about the time between death and reincarnation and possible duration? And where does a soul wait to get a new body? And where does a transition phase, where does a soul wait to get a new body?
Death can take place in different circumstances. And for the ordinary person, there is a question of auspicious and inauspicious death. If someone gives up his life peacefully at home, then it's considered to be more pious passing than if someone is murdered. Obviously, being murdered is itself due to a sinful reaction. Or if someone is killed in an accident. But if someone is a devotee and they've taken shelter of Guru and Krishna, then whatever is the death, then that is arranged by Krishna himself. And so there's no question of auspicious or inauspicious. Just like Chitraketu Maharaj, he was cursed by Parvati and he became Vitrasur. And so he was murdered by Indra. Of course, we can say it was a battle, but he was fighting on behalf of the demons against Indra, and Indra cut off his arms, and then he was cutting off his head with a thunderbolt weapon, and he was so big it took him a year. But while he was being killed by Indra, he was praying to the Supreme Lord. Aham hera tava padai kamula dasanudasa bhavitas vibhuya. So even though he was being killed, but it was very auspicious because he's a devotee. We see Lala Babu. He was kicked by a horse and he died. So he got killed by a horse. So for an ordinary person, these types of things, they're not auspicious. But for a devotee, it just means that, let's say in the case of Chitraketu Maharaj, he was cursed and became a demon. Why? Because previously he had a life that was very long, and Krishna was feeling separation and didn't want to wait. And so he arranged this situation to bring him very quickly to his lotus feet. So the question of the Bhadra Abhadra. The Bhadra, Dvaiti Bhadra, E Manodham, E Bala, E Manda, E Sabharam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this discrimination, what is auspicious and inauspicious, is a duality, and it is from the mind. And so that is related to material life. And in spiritual life, everything is Krishna's mercy. So this is the first part of the question. Then the second part of the question, it depends on the nature of the passing. But let's say for an ordinary person, when they pass, then the subtle body is still there. And so the relatives or those who are responsible, they should very quickly make the cremation. And then they have to do the Shraddha ceremony. After 13 days, they have to make the Shraddha ceremony, and then they have to do it every month for so many months. And so this is why in Vedic culture, every person who is following Karma Kanda, they want to have a son, because son is called Putra, the one who delivers you from hell. So the son will do Shraddha on behalf of the father. And according to the tradition, each time, every month when he's offering the Shraddha, then they give some, it is like a bowl made of rice. And when this is offered, then it transforms and becomes part of the body that soul will have in a Pitrilok. Because in Karma Kanda, when you die, you want to go and be with your father and your grandfather, with your ancestors. You want to enjoy a glorious life. It's like Valhalla. Go to the place of the courageous ancestors. So this concept is there. And so it takes some time for the son to perform the rituals so that the deceased father will attain a body in the Pitrilok. And then that son, he's hoping that he will have a son, so that when he passes away, his son will do the ritual so that he will have the chance then to go and join his father and ancestors like this. And but we see that most persons, knowingly or unknowingly, they commit some sins. So when they die, then the Yamadutas take them to Yamaraj. And then Yamaraj gives a judgment. He hears from Chitragupta the list of all your crimes. And then Yamaraj will make give a sentence. And then one will go and experience the reactions of the hellish punishments. And then when that is complete, then according to one's karma, then one can go to the next body. So these are the situations for the karmis. The path of karma is extremely difficult. And just because you do pious activities doesn't mean that you'll escape the reactions of any impious activities, even which were done unknowingly as well. So, but for the bhaktas, it is not like that. For the bhaktas, when the soul leaves, then Yogamaya arranges their next birth either with their Gurujan, or they will go to take birth in, they'll go to the spiritual world if they're in the Aishwarya Bhaktas. The messengers of Vishnu will come and they'll, on a spiritual body, get onto the aeroplane and fly to Vaikuntha. If they are Vishnu Bhaktas or Narayan Bhaktas. But if they have a Madhurya, sweet relationship with Sri Krishna, then they cannot go directly to the spiritual world. They have to take birth in a Bhauma Vrindavan. Because there's no birth in the spiritual world. There's no birth there. So you cannot just go there, just show up, you know. Just appear out of nowhere, 12 and a half years old, with no parents, no family members, no history. Just boop, appear in it. It will not work. So in order to be incorporated into the Leela, when the associates, they appear in this world and they're born, then you have to be born along with them. So then you have your parents and you grow up with the associates. So by Yogamaya, you become incorporated into the Leela. And at the end of the Leela, when the Leela becomes aprakat, then you enter into the aprakat Leela. And that's why for our Guru Vaga, we say Nitya Leela Pravishta. They entered the Nitya Leela. It means that they came from there. Because if you didn't come from there, then you have to go to Bhauma Vrindavan. But if you have come from there, then you can just go back there. So this, when we say Nitya Leela Pravishta Om, it's a very high praise of the Acharyas. So really, this is why Vaishnavas, they don't have to do Shraddha ceremony and these things. It's not necessary. It's not necessary for Vaishnavas. Because Krishna will manage their relocation either to the spiritual world, into the Leela of Krishna, or into another sadhak form to continue to complete their sadhana. But still, Vaishnavas, to not uproot the faith of the general people in Vedic Dharma, those who are householder Vaishnavas and so on, that means the Parinishthita Sadhak. The Nirapeksha and the Parinishthita Sadhak, they are pure devotees. So the Nirapeksha, he does not require to do any Shraddha or Karma Kanda. But the Parinishthita Sadhak, he will do these things not to uproot the faith of general people in Vedic Dharma, to set a good example for them, but mainly he will make the performance of the ritual anukul for bhakti. And so it will just become an opportunity for kirtan, mahaprasadam and harikatha and sadhu sangha, like this. Yes?
Say a Kanishta devotee, and where does the soul wait for the next body? Floating somewhere? And how long does
Why will you wait for the next body? If someone is under karma, yes, the subtle body, if someone, I don't want to say Kanishta Adhikari, because if he's actually Kanishta Adhikari, that means he has some paramartik shraddha. If he's not any kind of Adhikari, then he doesn't have any paramartik shraddha. But at Kanishta Adhikari even, he has some transcendental paramartik shraddha. Otherwise, he would not have this name Adhikari. You understand? Just like once, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he was giving a lecture, and he was speaking about the different stages of devotee. When he was speaking about the Kanishta Adhikari, then he said they have faith in Archan, and they very strictly follow all the rules and regulations of Archan. And he said, oh, like Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. So he didn't mean that Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj is a Kanishta Adhikari. He meant that he's following all these rituals of Archan. So then one devotee, then he became angry. What did he say? And he went and reported it to Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. And he said, oh, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj has said you are a Kanishta Adhikari. And hearing this, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj said, Haribol, Haribol. It has been confirmed by a pure Vaishnava. I have Adhikar. So just the fact that he's called Kanishta Adhikari means he has some Adhikar. So in Jaivadharma also, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes that he has the Kanishta Adhikari. The reason why he is a Kanishta Adhikari is because he has a small touch, a minute particle of Paramatik Shraddha. And the symptom, the symptom that Paramatik Shraddha is there in his heart is that the Kanishta Adhikari, he does not worship any devatas. Just like here, they're worshipping devatas. So, the Kanishta Adhikari, he does not worship any devatas. Whereas, if someone is on the path of bhakti and still worshipping devatas, it means they're not Kanishta Adhikari. They don't have adhikar for bhakti. So, even the Kanishta Adhikari, you should not think he will have to go through all the stages of first becoming a pret. That means leaving the body, and the subtle body is, it is there. It is staying close to the actual body as well. So it has to be cut by the very soon, quickly the cremation of the body has to be done to separate the soul along with the subtle body from its attachment to the gross body and those circumstances. And then the rituals and offerings have to be done, and they will give some boost to that soul on his journey to the next destination. And you can read in the Mahabharata, there's a description of the souls. They get taken by the Yamadutas, and if they have not been generous and kind to others, they have not done good karma, then they have to go on a very hot path in the hot sun. If they did not dig wells to give water to the people, then they'll be thirsty and no one will give them water. If they did not plant trees, then there'll be no shade and they'll be burning. Then, they come to the river, and this river has blood and stool and everything, and they can go by boat. So if they've done some pious activities, they can go by boat. Otherwise, they have to go into the... in Mahabharata and other places in other Puranas, which are discussing about Dharma and Karma Kanda, what kind of suffering and reactions a person has to undergo for their sins. That's not even the punishment. That's just on the way to the court case. And so it depends on the individual. But there is this gross physical plane, and there's a subtle physical plane. So just as your mind now is existing in the subtle physical plane, so it will live in the subtle physical plane also afterwards as well. So each case is somewhat different. It depends on the piety and impiety of the person. And for those who are in karma kanda, it depends on the rituals which are performed by the descendants also. Very important. But for the devotee, these things are not important. Tattenu kampam susamit shamano bunjana eva makritam vipakam. What is I will experience, it is Krishna's mercy. And whatever, it should be tolerated, and we should know that it's very good and it's good for us and helpful for us. A person can go to be taken by the Yamadutas and go to the Yamalok and be judged by Yamaraj, and then go to the various different types of narak, hells, and suffer for thousands of years. But because this is going on in the subtle body, it does not mean that thousands of years pass before they get their next birth. It can be, you experience like thousands of years, but it can be just a few moments, and then you go suffer the reactions for your sinful life, and then you can go and get the reactions for your pious activities as well in the next life like this. So we also cannot make with a stopwatch. Oh, he died so many hours ago. How long will it be before he gets like this? Because what is experienced in the subtle body and in the other regions, the time is not experienced in the same way. But in karma kanda, the time period for the making the cremation and then also for performing the Shraddha ceremony, they are given. So it's understood that the soul is in a subtle body until these rituals are performed, and then he attains the next body on the strength of the rituals. And for persons who are not in Dharma, then if a person doesn't do Dharma, then they will go down, the Yamadutas will take them, they will suffer like anything, and then they can take birth among the animal species. Because dharmaena hina pasubi samana. If a human being doesn't have dharma in their life, then they're an animal. The difference between a human being and an animal is that the human being follows dharma. So if you're a human being, you have human body, but you don't follow dharma, then you're living like an animal, and then you attain that birth also. Mohan.
I have a follow-up question to the yesterday's Goshti, and you were describing the stages of realization. So first Brahma, and then, if I remember correctly, Aishvarya forms of the Lord, Narayan, and then Shri Krishna. So I was wondering this Brahman realization, because I read in Jaivadharma, liberation can never be fully attained, right? So this
liberation can
never, you are liberated for some time, but you are not liberated all the time. Is it correct?
I don't understand. For whom?
On the path of liberation, people who try to attain mukti, they cannot be fully liberated in the material body. That's what I understood.
No, the meaning is that if someone tries for liberation by karma or by gyan, nishkam karma, that is a path of gyan. Nishkam karma is a way to attain gyan. So if someone is trying to attain Brahman realization without bhakti, then they cannot get it. It's not possible. It's possible that by a very high level of sattva gun, they may have a glimpse, but they cannot stay there. But if a person practices bhakti to get mukti, and they insist on that, then Krishna can reciprocate and they can attain mukti. And then when they leave this body, the soul will enter into Brahman or enter into Paramatma. It can be Brahma Suyuja or Ishvara Suyuja, merging into Brahman or merging into the Paramatma. And then that is permanent. That is permanent. Yeah. Isn't.
So I was wondering if I decide by reversing get like glimpse of this association of Krishna. So then the sequence seems like over Cham. Does it mean? But in his own realization, he still needs to go through all these stages, or it's just not the sequence changed, or what does it mean?
In I believe a Bhagavad Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad, he says that the Brahman realization is Prathamik Pratyaksh. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhavika Girdhari Shishi Radha Shama Sundar Juki Jai. So Prathamik Pratyaksh means the first perception. It's the first perception. Because you cannot be in bodily consciousness and have the darshan of Krishna at the same time. Not going to happen. It cannot happen. So, by chanting Nama Bas, then just a little Nama Bas, Yada Bas Yo Pudran Kabaleta Pavadhanta Vibhavo, a little Nama Bas destroys the bodily consciousness, bodily awareness. And then the Brahman effulgence is the light coming from Krishna. So, it is not that a person in ignorance and identification with the body who will have the darshan of Krishna. So, you should understand in that way that Brahman is a Prathamik Pratyaksh. It is the first perception of the truth. Yeah.
So it doesn't even is fully to the darshan of Krishna, but just some realization of Brahman, then some realization of Brahman.
If a person will have some very just slight reflection of the Swarupa of Krishna in the heart, it is in Nishta. And from Nishta, it's possible to go back. It's possible. So that person, we cannot say he's a completely liberated person. To have just a glimpse of the Rupa of Krishna, just a little, in the stage of Nishta, if he, in that stage of Nishta steadiness, he is engaging all of his senses, always serving and not committing offense, we can say he's Jivan Mukta. He's like a liberated soul. But there's still a danger. If he will commit offense, if he will do anything against bhakti, like the 6 things that destroy bhakti, which are described in Upadeshamrita, he can lose that position. So it is not, let us say, secure. It is not a secure position. And so that's why you can see many humble prayers of the Vaishnavas, praying to not become involved in anything which is negative, anything which may be detrimental for bhakti. So only those who have attained something really fear losing it. Those who have not attained something, they can very casually make so many mistakes and offenses because they don't have anything to lose. But those who have attained something, then they pray so fervently that they don't want to lose that. So, the darshan of Krishna, even in the stage of Nishta, just the reflection of the Swarupa of Krishna in the heart is very powerful and transformative. If someone has this, actually, not some vikalpa, then there will be extremely careful in their spiritual life and extremely fixed in hearing, chanting, remembering, all these things. So one should not think because somehow or other by the impression of the deity or by the association of good devotees, you have some thoughts about Krishna. But you are still lazy and hungry and angry and lusty like this. Yeah, I had darshan of Krishna. No, don't think like this. When someone has the darshan of Krishna in the heart and they become madhyam adhikari, then this is there will be some very strong symptoms in their life and their behavior, their detachment from this world also. They will not be attached to anything in this world. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo Sri Sri Radha Shama Sundar Ji Ki Jai.